Welcome to Decision Loop, the podcast from Relic Solutions, where we speak with the experts driving transformation across retail, manufacturing, and consumer goods. From AI pilots at scale to data readiness, governance, and the human side of automation, this show is your signal through the noise. It sounds like a huge undertaking, I have to say, something quite daunting to do.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
So please elaborate then. Because I'm thinking about anyone listening to this podcast, if there is a shortcut or a quick win to do this, because, activity-based costing it's quite an undertaking.
Well, it can be, but here's been my experience. And I've got a lot of cycles of doing this in every sort of business you can think of, from government to aerospace to automotive to healthcare to you name it, contact centers, you name it. Been there, done that. And it is very daunting to say, we're going to develop a good process understanding of everything going on in this business. Well, you're going to die of old age before you get all that built out anyway. So it's really important. I'll just take this. I talked about the supplier, right? The auto supplier. And I said, you know what? I'm going to pick one product. This is a key product line. And you're only going to quote it 10 or 15 times a year. You're only going to do 3 or 4 new programs a year. Let's just pick one, right? You draw way down to, okay, so let's actually walk this out all the way through the process end to end. Okay, so that was a pretty big undertaking. It took us probably about 6 weeks to get through it. But you can draw that back down and say, wait a minute, our challenge is to figure out how to automate, I'm going to make this up, our payables process. But then inside the payables process, there's different parts of the payables process. Payables related to what, right? So we might pick a very specific sort of payable. I'm talking about, healthcare services organization. So we're going to take a look at the process of paying for a hygienic, a cleaning process. So let's just say it's cleaning, or it's some other process where we get into some issues, right? Or some misunderstandings, things don't go well. We say, let's just take that very, very specific one. It's 5% of everything we do, right? But it's a meaningful chunk. It's something that kind of goes end to end. And we say, let's just attach ourselves to that. Pretend we are that process and we walk it out, right? So it's the user experience and it's the thing experience. So we use the thing, this is the transaction, the decision being made, whatever it is, and we hook ourselves to it and quite imagine it, almost in our imagination, that what happens to me first, right? The procedure is done, right? What happens next? Well, we document the results. Okay, great. What happens next? Then it goes here and it generates, right, the payment request from the provider. Great. What happens next? Well, the provider gets it, and then, oops, we have issues. Okay, so let's talk more about the issues. If there's an issue, what happens? What are the process steps that occur? I call that the hidden factory. When things don't go well, what's all the things that we don't expect that we have to deal with? And you continue, but then you come up with how often does it happen? Which people are involved or functions, right? What are the costs associated with that? How much time, money is spent there? What's the first time capability? How long does it sit there and wait? Inbox delays, right? If you send off a request to somebody, it's not going to be the first thing they do. It goes into a queue, a work queue, or it's got to wait for some batch processing in the computer systems, whatever. And we begin to capture that. But you would be amazed in how short a time, if you get the right people in a room and just talk it out, you'd be amazed at how quickly you can come up with a model saying, okay, this is what we have.